to another video. We are going to show what little content I have left from my phone and memory card screwing up really bad and deleting days and days worth of footage. I actually had a cool time-lapse deal going with complete reassembly of the saw, going over a bunch of different things. It's all gone now. I do have a video from some footage from still saved from the first test run carving with the saw. This is it here. I carved the skull real quick and you know, had some fun with it. The saw runs absolutely great. I'm very impressed with the condition of the saw. It was very, very low hours. Just seemed to have an owner that didn't have a clue. The poor saw, you saw the exciting part when I got the saw. It was completely tore up, and you saw that breakdown video, part 1. Well, this is part 2. We're going to go over how we set the coil, and you get to see some carving with the saw firsthand. So there you go, everybody. Sorry all those, I did all those days of work, and this phone is really hard. It runs out of memory easily, and then when you go to transfer it on data card, it doesn't make any sense. I did not purposely delete the video. The phone deleted it for me somehow when I chose to delete a few clips from that video. So thanks for watching, and enjoy what I have here for you. Now here's the fun part. Hopefully, with the flywheel on this one, and if you look at this coil versus the one I just took off of the next this is the next generation of 025. This is from the one with the red switch, the first generation 025s. Totally different size, right? But look how chewed up this one is. Okay, look at that. Flip them around here. Look at the difference. You know how nice and straight this one is and clean. That one's just blown apart and shot, completely wiped out. So hopefully the bolt pattern is the same. The way they mount to the saw is the same. The motors all look the same to me. So hopefully little coil is just a little bit different size and shape. Profile, and that's it. We have our new flywheel. You guys saw the old flywheel, remember? Another old chewied up. Right? Look at all them fins missing. I mean, it's absolutely wrecked. I don't know what you would do with this besides throw it in the scrap bin. Maybe keep the magnet for a pickup if you want to. I mean, there you even see it's clumsy and kind of useless. You can use that magnet as a pickup, right? You can use it to hold your tools. I may just bolt this to something, and so there I can have a screwdriver when I need it. You know, I don't know. Magnets are cool. I don't like throwing away magnets, or if I can help from recycling them and put them back to good use, I will. That's why I keep a lot of parts. If anyone has any great ideas for magnets, send them my way. We'll make a cool video of it. I don't know. Maybe make your own video of it. Doesn't really matter to me. So we are just looking at all this. It all looks good. It all really looks good. This one even has a notch here. So it looks like this is the match for this. Hopefully this is the match for that. There again, I got this from the shop that gave me the wrong size coil. This one doesn't have a notch. This is the one off of the saw that we're fixing. So maybe, hopefully, it'll all work out. So we're going to put this guy off to the side now. He gets his own box. Right? Every saw gets its own box. And now I'm starting to get boxes full of stuff. I have more boxes than I do saws. So we are going to try now. I say try because nothing is guaranteed. Especially with this old stuff. Nothing is guaranteed in this world when you're trying to mesh up parts to parts and different parts to different saws. And there's the world of plug and play, right? Like the computer stuff. And a computer tech friend of mine one time told me there's no such thing about plug and play. It's plug and pray. So that's kind of what I say when I put saws together too. We're plug and pray. Because we're just praying it might work. So we don't really want to force. If you can't turn it backwards, don't force it backwards. You have to find. You saw how I used the screwdriver, right? I found a convenient spot, and I had the thick part of the flywheel on that part, and you don't want to press against the fins. You just want to tighten this down. It doesn't have to be super tight because the tightness of this nut is opposite rotation. So man, there's a ton of compression. I am impressed how much compression's on this. I love it. The tightness of this nut is opposite rotation. Rotation goes this way, the nut goes this way. So the chances of losing that nut or that nut coming loose and you having problems with the flywheel, if you get it nice and snug on there, the chances are so much lower. Now, I could have just bought a coil and said, okay, I want the right coil, it's going to be the right coil, go through all that, waiting, parts, pieces, but for me, I look at a situation where I need nuts and bolts, I need a case, I need this, I need that. So, why not just buy a big kit, right? You're going to end up needing most of what's on here someday, or some point down the road. Now, hopefully, these nuts and bolts and pieces of parts, wire, these two. Now we have to do I need a coil bolt. These are a different size. Oh, this is bolts that I just pulled out. The only different size one is your ground wire bolt that goes in here. That's another benefit of the 025s versus the lower end 018 and 017. There's a lot of benefit from the kids following the truck. I like to point all these things out because it does help people make a decision. You know, if they really don't know, they haven't been around saws that often, they know what they like, if they just need help making a choice or a decision. I kind of feel like I can help in that decision. I can't tell you what saw to pick, but I can help you give you information about which saw. Now it's going really slow. You don't want it tight. You don't want to just jam that bolt in there. And you might have to loosen something up configuration-wise once you get it all lined up. That's why I don't tighten. Usually don't tighten everything until I know for a fact that I have my configuration exactly how I want it. Remember the other coil? The other coil had the black wire that went under. It went underneath this wire, so this yellow jumper going underneath our case ground wire should do the trick. That's how it was set up on. Alright guys, this other saw that
So why, when the saw is starting to run out of fuel, why do I sit there and why do I play with it? Because you don't just want it to go from bah to, you know, you don't just want it to go from full on, especially when it's sucking air, because that's even worse for it, because it's not getting as much lubrication. So you want to sit there and try to push some of that leftover residual fuel into the motor before you stop it, because the metals, you need to temper. Is that right? You need to keep from distempering things. The more you can control that, the better. That's why I never just shut a saw down and walk away. I let them idle for a minute, shut them off. You know, never go from high revs to off. Now don't quote me on this, guys, on the wiring. I might need to reconfigure it because this is a different coil for a different saw. So, don't quote me on what goes where exactly until we're out of the woods and we know it's running. It should all work. I mean, that's typically how the ground wire setup works. I will tighten this one a little bit just because it'll keep it centered and out of my way as I put things together. This guy should squeeze right back in there. This plastic shield is kind of a pain to get through, but it's actually easier than pulling this boot off and pulling the shield off and going through all that runaround. You don't really need to go through all that. Configuration of this wire. There is a little saddle for this wire. It all fits tightly together and out of the way. So
coil wire can have a definite place to go. Now, it's kind of weird the way this one's set up compared to how that one was set up. I'm not really sure exactly where this wire went. It didn't go behind because there's no room for it to go behind anywhere. So that I'm just kind of winging it. Sometimes you have to just wing it to get the job done and get the saw running, as long as you're within the boundaries of everything, fitting tight enough together so your covers don't pinch anything. See, and now we're plugged back in. So this is tight. Now we can set this because we're going to have to cover all this up anyway. So this is where I take a business card, any old business card. You put the business card in there, in between the coil and the flywheel. That. Now, get this out of the way. I hold up the coil and turn the flywheel. This magnet on said flywheel will pull the coil down, and then we go and tighten. We will use our hand tool since we have it. I'd rather use the hand tool for tightening things like this because I can feel exactly how tight. It's hard to get in that bolt with the wire right there. I'm not happy with that orientation personally, but you look at the old one and it came out of the front, so it wasn't designed the same. The way they jammed this one in, I mean, it works. I'm not sure exactly how it was in there, but it works. As long as we're running, we're going to be happy. Now, because coil bolts come loose all the time, and you have to think like torque wise. If you're not sure about torquing things, you need to look it up and find a torque spec chart on how to torque your nuts and bolts. I go by how many years I've been fixing saws and what feels comfortable. Now that little bump on the flywheel is not touching my coil at all. So that's where we want to make sure that the coil is not touching our magneto. Now, I'm not very happy with where that wound up. And I don't know how it wound up so close, but I'm going to readjust. Sometimes you have to. There's that. Let's go back in and tighten it. Should be the thickness of this business card space from the coil to the magnet when these bolts are tight. If it's not, if it's actually looks like it's touching or it's going to touch, because when this spins, everything expands when it spins. I don't care what happens. Bearings change, race a little bit when things are spinning at high speed. you do want to create a better gap there if you're not getting enough. See, I'm happy with that. It's very close, but I mean, this can be further away. It will still get the magnetic field. It's going to give you a different type of spark. It may create a hotter spark, which could be an issue. That's what you want to be wary of and watch for. Anytime you make those kind of adjustments, these kind, timing or gap wise, you want to make sure that you're not messing around with the heat, the whole heat relationship, coefficients, whatever they call it. Now, there is a breather hose, impulse hose, comes off the motor, right? That's directly goes into your motor. So you want to make sure that that gets hooked up as you're hooking up your boot. For your boot has to go through here and seal against this. But that little hose has to hook up here too. So that's going to be a little tricky. If you feel you need to take the brake handle off, the brake shield, you can do that too. I can usually do this without doing that. It's been a while, so bear with me on this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Please be sure to like and subscribe.